Welcome to Allies or Enemies. I'm Jess.
And I am Sean, and today we are talking about card games. It is summer, and summertime means card game time because you can put them in your pocket, you can take them to the park, you can take them to the pub, all of which we do regularly. And so we're just very excited about them right now.
So we picked a dozen of our favorite games that we're playing a lot of, and we thought we would share them with you. And we don't have them in any kind of order of preference. So each one we're just going to share what we like about it.
Yeah, I have two of them in order of preference, but I won't tell you which out of the 12. But really, we can't talk about all of them at once. It will be a cacophony. So we have to split them up somehow. So the order is pretty much random. But these are just the ones we're excited about right now. And we tried to keep it to games that are just cards, or basically just cards in a smallish container. But with those caveats, let's kick it off.
The first game we're talking about is Zuuli, and Zuuli is a card drafting game with animals on it, which I already love. I love anything with animals on it. And you are drafting your cards to build your zoo. But part of the decisions is having to draft the enclosures the animals will live in and deciding which animals to fit in based on the size of the animal and whether they're fierce or friendly. Friendly animals like elephants and sloths can live together. You don't want to throw in a lion in there.
And it's the art in it is very kid-like and simplistic, but do not be fooled by that because the game is actually quite a bit heavier than that. It's not a heavy game, but there's some real decisions in here, and it's cool because it's an independent game from a dude here in the UK. And everyone was kind of excited about it after the UK Game Expo. So we checked it out, and we're kind of gaming hipsters. So we like finding like a little gem like this that not a lot of people have. But it really exceeded expectations.
And every time we've played it too, we've found some more and more combinations that work really well. And that's Zuuli.
Our next game is the talk of the town right now, and that is Scout. And Scout is a super simple but interesting game. It's just got this simple mechanic where when you are handed your cards at the beginning of each round, you pick them up and then they're glued like that. They got to stay in that order, which is very hard for me because the first thing that I want to do with a handful of cards is quickly reorder them so they make sense. But the one decision you can make to reorder them is you can flip them all upside down because all of these cards are two-sided or two-ended or whatever. So they can go topsy-turvy. They can go either direction. But once you've made that decision, that's it. That's what you got. And then on your turn, you're playing a card or cards, and you each time have to play a higher card or a combination of cards than you played previously, and you're trying to do that quicker than everybody else. But there's a lot of fun in that.
And it's called Scout because on your turn you also have the option of scouting one of the other players' cards that they played. So as a result, I do find it tends to work better at kind of the 3-4 player count than the 2-player count. But part of the scouting action is if you take somebody else's card, which helps you out, you also help them out because then the next set of cards they have to play is a little bit easier for them.
Really interesting and very pretty game.
The next one comes in a very small box, and that is Sprawlopolis. So in Sprawlopolis, you are cooperatively trying to build a city. But the really neat thing about this is it's only 18 cards. And each of those cards, one side has the districts and the roads for the city that you're putting down and building, and the other side has a particular kind of scoring condition. So each game you randomly put out 3 of them, and then the other 15 cards are used to build your city. And it's actually surprisingly difficult.
Yeah, and we play this a lot. Like, this game lives in our backpack. It's amazing how much is done with 18 cards in this. And it takes up so little space on the table as well, and it's a real challenge. So Sprawlopolis, whether you get this giant box or the tiny wallet, it's so worth it.
And really replayable as well. I don't think we've ever had the same 3 cards come out too.
Our next game is Village Green, and Village Green is set in the cutthroat world of small town gardening competitions. And so in that you're one of like 5 little British towns. They got really cute little British town cards, but it's really a tableau builder. And so you got 9 cards that are going to be your garden, And then you've got 3 on the top and on the side that are awards. So those are the scoring cards. And the awards score for the columns down and the columns across. So the challenge is you really want to be able to build your entire garden in like the 15 turns that you get. And just do it as best you can as you build it out, which is a really interesting puzzle.
Because it's not just figuring out what card you need to play to match the different awards that are going down and across, but also every card that you play has to share one of the features with all of its surrounding cards. So it has to either share a color or a flower type. So it can get really tricky, and you do have to plan ahead and keep an eye on your opponent for how quickly they're putting their cards out. And you might just have to give up on a couple of the awards and not be able to get everything perfectly.
Yeah, this is a tough game if you are a perfectionist, because sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, which is a big part of the charm. And that is Village Green.
The next game we talk about a lot on our channel, and that is the Crew Mission Deep Sea. It is a cooperative trick-taking game. So you get these different missions that come out depending on the difficulty, and then certain players have to win those types of tricks. And we've played through the whole first box, immediately picked up this one, and are loving it. It's been a really enjoyable way to get us kind of back into card games.
Yeah, and we were like, should we even put it in this? Because we were always talking about this. And then we were like, well, we're always playing this, and this is about card games. This is like the best bang for your buck you're going to find. This is like £10 for like hundreds of hours of playing. So there's a reason we talk about it a lot. We really like the Crew, and the Crew Mission Deep Sea fixes any of the problems that were in the original one as well. So that's the Crew. This next one is the least traditional card game that we have on this list, and it is Rhino Hero. And yes, this looks like a kid's game. It is also the best drinking game that you will own. This is super simple. You're building a house of cards. You're taking cards, you're putting them out on the table on these little things. You're putting out like the next level of wall, the next level of floor, the next level of wall, the next level of floor. Every now and then, you add a rhinoceros superhero, as one does. And the interesting thing with this game is it is officially competitive, and it begins as a competitive game until you get to a certain point, and then it becomes a cooperative game because you just want to build the highest tower you can, and no one cares who wins.
Yeah, it is funny because I often am the one to knock it down, and instead of Sean being like, yay, I won, he's like, oh, we were getting so tall. We have gotten to the point where we've almost used all of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
One day, hopefully, we'll get to that stage where we have used every single card, and then we'll have to call it a draw.
Yeah, anytime we're playing this, not in the house, I'm just looking around for like, are you seeing this? Are you seeing how fun this is? Because this game is so much fun. Haba do such a good job of that with these ugly yellow boxes. But, oh boy, this game is an absolute blast.
And that is Rhino Hero. The next game is Abandon All Artichokes. And for this one, you start off with a hand just of artichokes, and then you pick from the garden display different vegetables. And the goal for getting those vegetables is to try and get rid of all of your artichokes. And if you draw 5 cards and there are no artichokes, you yell, abandon all artichokes, and you've won.
And I love that as a winning thing because we always do yell it, and it is a lot of fun to yell. And look at this great container. It's just instantly fun.
And the art on it is adorable. That vegetable art is fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. Our next game, we're going from maybe the nicest box on this list to probably the ugliest. But you know what? I don't care because it's exactly the size it needs to be, and it makes this game super affordable, and that is Star Realms. And Star Realms is a lot of deck builder for this tiny box. It's a competitive deck builder, so you're building out like a fleet of spaceships, and you're attacking your opponent with those spaceships while you're also using some of your cards as resources to buy more spaceships that you're then adding to your deck. And there's this like depth in it because There are, I think, 3 different federations in it as well that all combo together in different ways.
Yeah, it can be really good if you manage to kind of get the right combinations of cards and you're able to maximize on that, because it usually gives a bonus if you have another card of that color out too. So for such a small box, finding those combinations and the level of game in it is really impressive. And how it monitors your health is a really neat way too, because it's just a card with another card over top, and you just slide the card down to show that, which does it really easily.
Yeah, it's such a cool way to avoid having any sort of other cardboard counters or other components in this. It's so brilliantly streamlined, and you can, if you want, really get into it, and we've got other expansion ones to it as well. But even just the core box has plenty in there, and that's Star Realms.
The next game is Similo, and it is a cooperative guessing game. So there are 12 cards laid out, and only one person knows which card everybody else is trying to guess. And they have a deck of different cards that they have to put out, and the way they put it out tells the other players whether that card is similar or different to the card that they're trying to guess. And that's it. You know, each round they have to eliminate kind of one more card than the round before until you're left with just hopefully the right answer.
Yeah, it's a super, because when you put it down, you just put it down vertically if it's similar, horizontally if it's not similar. So you're not allowed to talk at all if you are the hinter. And we're really into this. Like we got the Harry Potter one.
We have the Spookies one.
We got this Greek myths one. We're trying to find the history one, but we can only ever find the Italian version. And yeah, we just, you can mix them together too. Although we've tried to do some creative mixing and it's not quite worked out yet. But I think there's probably some cool ways you could do that too. But it doesn't take up a lot of space and it takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's similar.
Our next one is Radlands, and we were a little on the fence whether or not this made kind of our cut, because you can get a board game version of it that's got like a full board. But this is really just a card game. This is just a deck of cards, a tableau builder, just a really creative one and a really cool looking one. The art in this is tremendous. I love like the Mad Max style. We got a whole bigger video describing this as well. It's mostly just due to my excitement about this game.
Yeah, the art is amazing. But it is a head-to-head battle of your tableau. So you each have these 3 camps that you're trying to protect, and you're putting out these like post-apocalyptic type folks.
Well said.
And that have different powers to try and destroy the camp. So the first person who destroys the other person's camps wins. So it can play really quickly, and other times we've almost come to like stalemates, and it's taken a little while to kind of get through the lines.
Yeah, and the camps play super differently, and it's just the cards that you get out. It plays really differently every time that you play it, and it looks so cool when you've got this game laid out, whether or not you've got that playmat. And obviously we don't, and I feel like that's a plus, because look at this nice little box. How much game comes in this box? I know we say that a lot, but boy, oh boy, there's a lot of game in this box.
This next game is Bandido. It is one of my favorites. It's a cooperative game, and in it you start with this Bandido that is trapped in jail, and then each of you has to play a card on your turn that's a tunnel. And the tunnel will either kind of create new openings or create endings that capture the Bandido. And that is your goal, is as the tunnel network gets bigger and bigger, to find ways to kind of close it off and trap the Bandido.
And we play this a lot, and anytime we play it like 10 times in a row. Jess will not let me stop until we have caught the Bandido. She will not go to bed with a Bandido loose.
No, and it is amazing for such a small box of cards how much space this can end up taking. Like sometimes those tunnel networks means we have to like dismantle some just to be able to keep expanding out. But it's great fun, and that is Bandido.
Last one we are talking about is Parade. And I know at the top we said we're not saying these in order, but if we were saying these in order, this would be my number one. Because I love this game. Parade it's been around for a while now, but this is the newer version of it. The artwork is so pretty, and it's Alice in Wonderland, which I already love. And the game is, you've got a parade of cards, and it's all these characters just facing the same direction. And each turn, you got to play one of the cards from your hand. And then you ignore any cards that are that number away from your card. And after that, you have to pick up any cards lower than that or the same color. You don't want cards. Having cards is bad. But if you get cards, you want to get all of that kind of color, because if you have the most of a color, you flip them all over and they only count for one each. Otherwise, you got to add up all the numbers, and whoever has the highest number loses. It's like a whole world of decisions.
And it leads to some really interesting moments as well, because there'll be some players who've done a really good job of not getting any cards, but then they have to put one down, and it means all of a sudden they might have to take like the 9 and 10 card that are out there, which will be 19 points unless they can get more than everyone else. So all of a sudden they're gunning for that kind of card too.
And the game ends once someone gets one of each suit. So you also are trying to avoid that, but sometimes you're rushing at it. And yeah, it works great at 2. It works, I think, probably even better at more, but it works really, really well at 2 as well. And
because it looks so good, it's such a nice one to introduce to other people as well.
Yeah, and this has been the game of the summer for us. We've played this like most nights this summer, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So that is Parade. And that is it. Thanks so much for watching. And if you've got any card games that you would suggest, please let us know. We are very much in the market to have more card games, especially because they don't take up much shelf space.
Yeah, it's something that we've really played a lot more of recently, so we would love to expand our collection. If you've played any of the ones we've played, let us know your thoughts on them as well. As usual, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you for the next one.